your vegan food explorer, and today we're going to be talking about the god of vegan protein. That's right, tofu. And we're going to be telling you and showing you how to make it taste not rubbish and make it taste absolutely amazing. Let's get into the video. I absolutely love tofu. Why do I love tofu? Why is tofu so amazing? Well, first of all, it is a complete protein, which is, some people say, a little bit difficult to find as a vegan. And what is a complete protein? A complete protein is a protein that has the whole gamut in sufficient amounts of the amino acids, which help build muscle, tissue, things like that. So some vegan sources may be missing one of those amino acids. It's not actually a problem because you can fill in the gaps of other proteins. However, it is a whole protein and it's absolutely awesome. So it just does everything really, really well. What is it? It's actually made from soy milk. It's actually called bean curd. It's squished into chunks, and then form into blocks, cubes, etc., etc. I absolutely love it because I live quite an active lifestyle. I like running, I like weight training, and protein. It's not essential. You don't need loads of it just to live everyday life. But actually, if you want to recover properly, you want to go fast, you want to lift heavier, then it is really, really important. I've definitely found that in my experience, and having adequate amount of it in my diet, really, they make an absolutely huge effect on my recovery. Also, I find that if you're transitioning from a meat-eating diet to a vegan diet or even vegetarian, having tofu is such a great way. It's such a good substitute for meat. And even if you've been a vegan for years, it's great as a great substitute just for common dishes. So you can have, potatoes and tofu, things like that, roast potatoes and tofu. You can have light in stir fries. It's fantastic. It can replace chicken, beef, everything. Really, really rate it. So I really, really rate it. But the biggest thing that people always say to me, always say to me is, oh, tofu, it tastes dry or it's too wet. I've heard both. People say both things, so they can't be both. Or it's got no flavour and everything like that. And I'm like, what are you doing with your tofu? So a lot of my friends had this, and to be fair, so did I have this problem, but I solved it. So what we're going to go through first the actual tofu and the brands, the sorts first, and then I'll put a link on this so you can go straight to a recipe, which is my favourite recipe for making amazing, full of flavour tofu. So first of all, you've got to talk about, before you get into cooking and marinating and all that jazz, you've got to look at what tofu are you using. So you can have everything from your bog standard tofu. This is the same as the organic one. The reason why I also love tofu is because most of it is all organic. A lot of it is, you'll find, and it's super, super cheap. So really, really recommend it. I mean, this is like £2 for 300 grams, which is crazy, really good for about a really high quality product. So this is just your basic tofu. It comes in water. This is normally pressed. It's not pressed loads, but I think it is a little bit pressed. But if you want to get all the water out, you sometimes have to squeeze it if you want. I don't really worry about that, but yeah, so that's your normal firm. Yeah, so it's firm, so it means it has been pressed a little bit. But there's loads and loads of different sorts of other tofu. There's this, which is silken tofu, which is so much more liquidy. This one is actually a firmer one, but you can get it. It's basically, you literally drip it out. This one, if I were to open this, it's almost like, it looks like a tofu, but literally you touch it and it starts to melt. It's absolutely amazing. Really, really good. You can make sauces out of it. You can make rich, creamy dishes. Yeah, really, really interesting. Tastes quite similar to this. So this is your plain tofu. Then we get into your bit more wild tofu, because this is smoked tofu, and this has been a game changer for me this year. I only discovered it this year, but it's got smoked flavour. So it's got beechwood smoked, and it has a really distinctive flavour. It's kind of like imagine like a smoked sausage. It's not quite as strong as that, but my word, it is really, really nice. I know several people just eat this in like a sandwich or put it into a stir fry. It's already got tons of flavour. So whereas in a minute we're going to be cooking up this, we're going to be using your basic tofu to show the amazing flavour. You can already buy tofu that's already got flavour in it. Really recommend. Then this is my go-to. This is relatively expensive because you don't get that much. They have different flavours. They have, it's like a marinated flavour. This is the teriyaki tofu. And this comes pre-marinated, marinated, I don't know, has a marinade in it. And this one's teriyaki, and I absolutely rate this. You can also get this from different brands. This is from Cauldron, but it's already marinated, and you can chuck it in your stir fry. I personally have it with, I have a baked potato, and then I have it with it. Very strange probably, but I mean stir fry would be absolutely perfect. Have it with noodles, with this, and then just get a stir fry veg bag, fry it all up, and that is absolutely delicious. This is a little bit higher fat because it has oil in it, but it does mean it's absolutely delicious and really, really moist. So I definitely recommend it. Potentially not every day because of that high fat content, whereas these, very, very lean. Then I just want to go on to another, just off on a side tangent here, is also there's different ways of having your soybeans. And so this is tempeh, which is made out of, I think they're like cultured soybeans basically and fermented. So it's a completely different texture, similar flavor I think, but it's almost like beans squished together, if you can see that. Kind of looks like a brain, but really, really different, very, very different to your traditional tofu. But it does have a similar taste to tofu, but the texture is so different, it can be used in very, very different ways. So that's your tofu. Already, I think most people think this when you think tofu, but actually there are loads of different other things. Also, yesterday, check out my Instagram. It's at Your Vegan Food Explorer. We had braised tofu, and it is absolutely crazy. Looks like chicken, basically. It's got thin layers in each bit, in each kind of fillet. Very, very impressive. Definitely check that out. But that's kind of your overview on your tofu. Now, let's take your bog standard tofu and show you how to make it 0 to hero. Let's go. So we're now going to show you how to make plain tofu taste absolutely amazing. So we're going to start with, get some super firm tofu. So I'm choosing the one from So Organic from Sainsbury's, which is one of the cheapest tofus you can buy, apart from Lidl where there is one much cheaper. But any tofu will do that is the super firm tofu. Let's go. So open it up, and then you want to drain out the water. So you just drain it out like that. Now we're going to be using half of the tofu, so cut half of this out, and we're going to dice it on here. We need to dry it, so it's still really, really wet. There's quite a lot of the water coming out of it. So what we need to do, ideally you'd do this with kitchen towel, but I've only got tea towels. I don't have any kitchen towels, so I've got a really clean, fresh out of the washer tea towel, and I'm just going to pat it dry. Okay? So we patted these dry. They're still a little bit wet, but I think that's going to be fine. You want to try and get it as dry as possible. I'm actually going to cook all of this now, but it doesn't matter. I mean, a good portion would be half of this, and this is 300 grams. So we take this, pop it into the pan. Now we're going to put the rest of it in the pan. Make sure it's really evenly distributed. Now we're just going to quickly season it and add some oil. I only seem to have sesame oil, but doesn't matter. Use any oil. Just drizzle it over. Put that back. Give it a little shake. Try and get everything covered. And then we're going to put this in the oven for 20 minutes. Right, that's just gone in, and I should say you want the oven pretty hot. I've got it on 200, but I think I'm going to put it just below 200 degrees. And we're going to let that bake, and then we're going to check in 20 minutes time, and we're going to add the real flavour. See you shortly. Halfway through cooking, so 10 minutes, you want to take out the tofu, give it a shake, make sure it all gets that oil and is all soaked up. I just took these out halfway through cooking and you can see they're already starting to crisp up real nice. So I'm going to give them a shake and then put them back in. So how to make the actual sauce now. So what we're going to do, whilst the tofu's in the oven, that's going to be cooking up real nice, and basically it draws a lot of the moisture out just so it's not wet and soggy. And so you're now left with these. They're now these kind of much more firm chunks of tofu, which is going to be really great. But how we make them actually have a real flavour and make it really versatile is actually we make a little sauce for it that it just cooks in for a very short amount of time at the end. And it is slightly an Asian flavour, but you can use it with loads of different things. I use it with rice, with noodles, like a Buddha bowl. You can just have it on its own even. You can keep it in the fridge and then heat it up. Or you can have it with even probably pasta, and because it's got its own flavour, you don't necessarily need any sauce with it, and it's really delicious. But you can put maybe some soy sauce, add with it, and that'll be really nice. So what do we actually use? So what we use is a mixture of, first, ginger, and you'll want 20 grams of grated ginger. You can use the regular one from the store, which is really cheap. You just trim it, take all of the outer layer off, and then grate it, 20 grams for the whole pack of 300 grams tofu. I use this as it's just really easy. We keep it in the fridge all the time. It doesn't go off very easily either. Then you're going to need some white wine vinegar, or you can use rice vinegar. We've got this, so we've got at the moment. So you use 3 teaspoons of this, and then the final part is 3 teaspoons of white miso paste. And this is a little bit more kind of exotic, but it's available in Sainsbury's, all your kind of common supermarkets in the UK and probably across the world as well. So this is really cheap, just a few pounds. This, you don't need to buy organic version. You can get the dirt cheap one, or rice vinegar, really good value as well, especially if you shop in either a supermarket or even a just like a world food store. You'll get it really cheap. And then your ginger. So 20 grams of ginger, and then 3 teaspoons each of the vinegar and the miso paste. And then we're going to whisk it all up, and then we'll go from there. We've now made this paste. I probably should have chopped the ginger a little bit more, but it doesn't matter. It's still going to taste really nice. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get out of the oven our tofu, and we're going to toss it in there. Then the secret is we're then going to put it back in with the oven off just for a couple of minutes, just to really solidify it. This is hot. So you can see it's gone all golden. It's almost dried out, which is great. It's going to be nice and crispy. Now what we're going to do is add in that miso and then get it back into the oven, turned it off. That's all popped all over it. Shaken up. Now let's put it back in the oven just for 3 minutes. Oven is off, but it's still super hot obviously, and we'll let that settle down. And there you have it. I've just taken this out of the oven, given it a real good shake. Make sure you get all of that amazing ginger, all of that sauce, and look at that. It's really crisped up nicely. I think I messed up a little bit. I should have made the chunks just a tad bigger, and I should have dried out the tofu just a little bit more, but the taste is really nice. So what should you have this with? So it's a really versatile dish, this now. You can have it just on rice, you can have it with noodles, you can have it with just a salad, you can have it in a Buddha bowl. That is what I would personally recommend, where you have like some lettuce, some avocado, you have, whatever, and then this, maybe some rice or some grains, and you have this as kind of a separate bit, because it really is full of flavour. I'm having this tomorrow for my lunch, and I'm going to be having it with some rice. I'm going to have this with some rice, and then this with it, and then I think I've just got some lettuce and some cucumber, and I'm going to chop it up and have it just next to it on the side, which tastes super fresh. You don't need any more sauce with it on the rice, but it's really nice, very versatile, super healthy, and that is my quick tip to make tofu taste amazing. I hope it helps. I'll put the recipe down below. It's actually from a Joe Wicks recipe. It's slightly adapted, but very similar. So I'll put the recipe down below. Let me know if you've got any other questions about tofu, as I absolutely love it. I'm a bit of a connoisseur. And of course, we'll see you in the next video.